all the sound is good up there, so you can hear us. Yeah, okay, and says the sound is good. Excellent.
We could hear you. Sound is good.
Where did that come from?
Where did that come from? Oh, that's coming from the
Zoom.
Zoom feed.
Okay.
So how do we turn that down?
Yeah, that's everybody not to talk.
Yeah.
Just make sure he's muted.
Okay,
Oh my
thank you.
gosh.
Wow, that was so funny.
That's a wake up. At least we're awake.
Oh, so funny. Well, I was going to say, this is our very first service where we have people in the congregation since March. So that's very exciting.
Yeah, what is this? Yeah?
I don't know.
Почему меня там нет?
I'm coming.
I got him.
Okay.
You got it on there?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, just muting them or?
Yeah, is there another way to, do you want to show me what to do?
I was wondering if there's
Oh,
another way to
that's, that's my uncle from, I think it's
Zalman.
That's Zalman, I think.
It is.
Oh, that's so, this is very nice. I cannot see myself.
Very interactive.
That'll be
That'll be the...
Coming, they're coming.
They can unmute themselves, then
I don't know if that's going to stop them from hearing it though. So ask them.
So then one half of the video is right? Yeah. Say, give us a
Will you talk a little bit?
Okay, testing.
Ask the Zoom people.
thumbs up if they can hear you.
Okay, if you're on Zoom, let me know if you can hear us with a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Yes? Okay, good. Okay, beautiful. Oh my goodness. I was going to say, there are going to be bumps this morning. We've never done this before. So, here we are. First bump out of the way. It's wonderful to see you all. We have the protection of this plexiglass box. You can see us, but we don't have to be masked. And same for Eva, of course, the most important person to be able to not wear a mask while she reads Torah and leads our service. Welcome to Congregation B'nai Tikvah. I'm Rabbi Shaban. I'm so happy to have you all here. Let's begin with some music and get us all grounded here and be present.
Are they here? They're coming. Take this. And for your father.
Okay, take 7. Here we go.
All right, we really got this.
Yeah. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. So nice to see you all on this beautiful Shabbat morning and on this beautiful occasion of Eva becoming Bat Mitzvah with her dearest family and friends here and dear family and friends on Zoom across the world from us. It's a real blessing that we can do this at all in this crazy time that we're in. So thanks so much for being here. It really matters, each and every one of you that's here, wherever you are. So among the many things that Eva's doing for the very first time this morning is she gets to wear a talit. She gets to put on her prayer shawl and wear it when she is called to the Torah as a bat mitzvah. So, Jania and Carlos, please come forward to offer your blessing. And you too, Eva, come on over.
May all the gifts hidden inside you find their way into the world. May all the kindness of your thoughts be expressed in your deeds. May all your learning lead to wisdom. May all your efforts lead to success.
May all the love in your heart be returned to you. May God bless your body with health and your soul with joy. May God watch over you night and day and protect you from harm. May all your prayers be answered. Amen.
Amen.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu l'chitatei b'tzitzit.
Amen.
On page 192, if you have a siddur, if you don't have one, they're at the back. But on page 192, Matovu ohalecha Yaakov mishkenotecha Yisrael, that it talks about how lovely are your tents. And actually, we are in a tent. It's amazing. Usually we think of the tent as the sanctuary, but we get to sing about an actual physical tent on page 192. So the order of our morning service, we begin by giving thanks for the space that we're in, for this ohel, for this tent, And then we give thanks for our physical bodies, and then we give thanks for our souls. We kind of go from the outside in with gratitude to remind us what we're really meant to be doing here this morning. So on page 194 is our blessing, giving thanks for our bodies. Asher Yatzar, Baruch Atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, Asher Yatzar et ha'adam b'chokhmah, uvaravo nekavim nekavim, chalulim chalulim. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who formed these amazing human bodies with skill, creating the body's many pathways and openings. It is well known before your throne of glory that if one of them be wrongly opened or closed, it would be impossible to endure and stand before you. Baruch atah Adonai, rofeh chol basar, umafli la'asot. And on page 196, I'm going to trade places with Eva, and she's going to offer the blessing, giving thanks for our souls.
Elohai neshama shnatata bi duchorahi, atavrata atayitrata atanivaktapi, ve'ata mishomra dikirbi, kozman shahan shamar dikirbi, moda ani lefanecha, Elohai avotai v'motai, ribon kol hama asim, adon kol han shamot. My God, the soul you have given me is pure. You created it, you shaped it, you breathed it into me, and you protect it within me. For as long as my soul is within me, I offer thanks to you, Adonai, my God, and God of my ancestors, source of all creation, sovereign of all souls. Praise are you, Adonai, and who cleanses every living soul and the breath of humankind. Baruch atah Adonai, asher bayado nefesh kol chai, ruach kol b'sar ish.
Beautiful. On page 204, we're going to offer a blessing for Torah study. Because, of course, everything that we're doing this morning, all of the prayers, all of the learning, it all leads up to the Torah service. But what we're doing in the early parts of the morning is really learning kind of big T Torah, right? All of the lessons we're meant to learn. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu la'asok b'divrei Torah. O Adonai, our God, let the words of Torah be sweet in our mouths and the mouths of your people Israel, so that we, our descendants, and the descendants of all your people Israel may know you by studying your Torah for its own sake. Baruch atah Adonai hamalameh Torah le'amo Yisrael. And on page 214, Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, the Psalm for Shabbat, giving thanks for this day of the week that we get. Comes round and around, we're so grateful. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Le'odot L'Adonai. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Le'odot L'Adonai. Lezamer L'Shimcha L'Yon, Lezamer L'Shimcha L'Yon, Le'hagid b'boker chastecha, ve'emunatcha b'leilot. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Le'odot L'Adonai. Mizmor Shir L'Yom HaShabbat, Tov Le'odot L'Adonai. On 215, Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha. Happy are all of us who get to dwell in this place of grace. Ashrei Yoshvei Beitecha, Od Yehaleluha, Od Yehaleluha. Ashrei Yoshvei The last of our introductory psalms is Psalm 150, the last psalm in the book of Psalms. It's on page 218. It repeats over and over, hallelujah, 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 this song of praise and praise and praise, reminding us what we're actually doing this morning, right? We're celebrating. We're so grateful to be together, and our Siddur, our liturgy, is just woven through with all of these words of praise. Hallelujah, 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 And with that, we turn to page 222 and move into the main body of our service with Shochen Ad in the middle of the page. Shochen Ad Maharam Mekadosh Shemo Lechatu v'ranenu tzadikim Adonai le'sharim navatehila Lefi sharim titalal u'divrei tzadikim titvarach ובלשון חסידים תתרומם, ובקרב קדושים תתקדש, ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל, ורינה יתפאר שמך מלכנו בכל דור ודור. ברוך אתה אדוני, אין מלך גדול בתשבחות, אין עבודות אדוני נפלאות, המוכר בשירי זמרה מלכי העולמים. Page 224. יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבי ועלמד יברך יראותי וימליך מלכותי וחייכון וימלכון וחי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה Vitvaar, vitroma, vednasei, vitadar, vitale, vitalash, medikucha, gerihu, le'ela, vinkobirchata, veshirata, tushbechata, venechemata, ta'amiran, ve'yalama, ve'imeru, Amen. I'd like to invite up good friend of the family, Dolly Balenki, to do a reading called The Sweetness of Shabbat, to set us in the mood for the Baruch.
We reach for you, our God, from our quiet places. May we stand still for a brief moment and listen to the rain. Stand still for a brief moment and watch the play of sunlight and shadow on the leaves. For a brief moment, listen to the world. Let us stop the wheels of every day to be aware of Shabbat. Find the stillness of the sanctuary which the soul cherishes. Renew the covenant of an ancient people. The balance is precarious. Steady us with faith. And with strength, we'll return again to your service.
Thank you. On page 226, we turn to the Baruch. Please rise. Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer or v'choshech oseh shalom, uboreh et hakol. On 229, are you up for a reading with me? I haven't had a congregation in so long. Will you read with me, please? I haven't heard any of your voices. Okay, 229 at the bottom of the page. You are praised, who rolls out the rough, raw clay of the universe into delicate vessels of light. And from nothing at all, we could perceive in a world that has turned old, a shimmering new creation right before our eyes, made this moment just for us. How much of life reveals your presence? How much Torah unfolds from each new flower, from each new wave that breaks upon the sea? You are praised, who forms from the clay that cloaks our lives, the delicate vessels which contain our light. Baruch atah Adonai, Yotzer HaMeorot. On 230, we sing about love with Ahava Rabbah, this love that's given to us in the form of the Torah. Ahava Rabbah Adonai Eloheinu, Eloheinu Lavitera, Hamata Aleinu, Avur Avoteinu, Ve'imoteinu, Shevat Huvecha, Avinu Malkeinu, Vatelamdeim Chukechaim, Ken Tehoneinu Utlamdeinu, Avinu Avarachaman, Amerachim Rachim Aveinu, V'tein V'libeinu Lehavin, Lehavin Ul'haskil Lishmoa, Lilmod U'lelamed, Lishmor Ve'lasot. תורתך ודבק ליבנו במצוותיך ויחד לבבינו לאהבה ונירא את שמך ולא נבוש ולא ניגאל ולא ניגשם לעולם עד כי בשם קודשך הגדול והנורא בתרנו נגילה ונשמחה נגילה ונשמחה ישועתך ואבינו לשלום נרמת אנחות הארץ ותוליכנו כל מיוחדנו כי אל כל ישועות אתה ובנו בחרת וקירבתנו לשמך גדול שרה באמת להודות לך ולייחדך באהבה ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני On page 234, Eva is going to lead us in the chanting of the Ve'ahavta.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושכבך ובקומך וקשרתם להיות על ידיך וחיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
So let's learn a phrase. Yasher Koach. Try that. Yasher Koach. Oh, that's a congregation. Woo! That's what we say when someone does something beautiful. It's sort of to your strength. May you be strengthened by that beautiful thing that you just offered to us. So anytime she does something, you say, Yasher Koach. Or when someone does an aliyah to the Torah, or something magnificent happens, that's what we like to say. Page 240, please. Micha Mocha. Shira Another reading, another friend, Victoria Skolskaya. Did I do it right? All right. She's going to come and read praying. Training.
It doesn't have to be the blue iris. It could be weeds in vacant lot or a few small stones. Just pay attention, then patch a few words together, and don't try to make them elaborate. This isn't a contest, but the doorway into things, and a silence in which another voice may speak.
That was beautiful. I love including that Mary Oliver poem right before we do the Amidah. Because the way that we do it is Eva's going to come up and join me in just a moment. And we're going to turn around and face the ark. And because it's a moment of intimate personal prayer, even though we'll be singing out loud, you won't be able to hear us as well because we're facing away from the microphone. But that's intentional because it's supposed to be a moment in which we're offering up our own silence in which another voice may speak. So we're going to do the first 3 blessings out loud together, and then I'm just going to invite you to take some time to pray on your own. Whether that's with the words from the prayer book or just the words of your own heart. And when you're finished with your own experience of either listening or speaking, to have a seat when you're done. So first we're going to sing Adonai Sefatai Tiftach, which is found on page 242. Please rise.
So
מקדש את שמך בעולם, שם שמעת שמעת בשמי מרום, וקטוע יד אביך, וקרזה על זה ויאמר.
קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלך הארץ יבודו.
אדיר אדורנו, אדוני אלוהינו, מעדי שפע בכל הארץ.
ברוך יבוא אדוני במקומו.
אחד הוא לכנו, הוא אבינו, ומלכנו, ומושיענו.
והוא ישמיענו, ישמיענו ברחמיו, ישמיענו ברחמיו, לעיני כל חי.
אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
ימלוך אדוני לעולם, אלוהי ציון, לדור ודור, הללויה.
לדור ודור נגיד גודלך, ונצח נצחים כבשך לכיש, שופע לכנו, מפני לא ירשת לעולם ועד.
Baruch atah Adonai, Hael HaKadosh. Words to Sim Shalom, our prayer for peace, are on page 258. Sim, sim, sim Shalom, Sim Shalom, Shalom, Sim, 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 sim Shalom, Shalom, Sim, 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 sim Shalom. Shalom, sim, 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 shalom, to'ah, ein b'chesed v'rachamim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael amecha, arkeinu Yisraelu kulanu ki'echa be'or barecha, sim, shalom, sim, 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 shalom, sim, shalom, to'ah. Shalom, To'ah u'bracha. Hive'or panecha natata lanu, Adonai Eloheinu, Torat chayim ve'avat chesed u'tzedaka u'bracha ve'rachamim v'chaim le'shalom. Sim shalom, sim, 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 sim shalom, sim shalom, To'ah u'bracha. Sim, sim, sim shalom, To'ah u'bracha. Tov enecha levarech et amecha Yisrael, b'chol ha'et u'b'chol shah b'shlomecha. Sim shalom, sim, 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 sim shalom, sim shalom, To'ah u'bracha. Sim, sim, sim shalom, To'ah u'bracha. Baruch atah Adonai, hamevarech et amo Yisrael, Shalom. Okay, friends, hopefully you feel sufficiently grounded and welcomed into this morning. You've been able to let go anything that you had happen earlier, and now we are ready for while you were actually here, which is the Torah service. This is the moment we've all been waiting for. So we're going to be taking out the Torah, and we're also going to be inviting up the generations of Eva's family to pass the Torah down the generations to her as a symbol of this chain that's never broken in our families, right? We don't just have Torah that falls into our laps, right? It comes from our parents and our grandparents and from our elders that came before us. That's one of the most beautiful parts of our tradition. So the Torah service is on page 362. We're just going to take one moment to see if we can tweak the glare of the plexiglass. Just that much. See if it helps the people on Zoom at all.
Have them give a thumbs up or thumbs down if it helps.
They're going to give us a thumbs up or thumbs down?
Ask them.
Okay. Oh, can you please give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down if that helped?
Since you use it.
Not much. You can try a little more.
Try a little
or
more.
the other direction.
And hopefully it doesn't affect our own experience right here. This is community in action.
I think that's a little better.
Is that a little better?
Nope, they said no. You could try the other direction because it's all about light.
All right, here we go. Other direction. Why not? While we're at it.
I know, I felt it. That was very scary.
It's for the happiness.
For all the people watching at home, hopefully this is...
Can we see Eva's height?
Can we...
Eva's height, I think might be good.
Come on, girl, get up there.
I think her height is better. No.
No.
No, they're shaking no. But we can hear perfectly.
Okay, hearing is good.
Should we go?
So should we just go back to how it was?
Yeah, go back.
Okay.
Go back?
Go back.
Yeah.
All right.
Better for Carlos.
You need to feel the
Okay. Okay. This is an imperfect human experience we're having, trying to become B'nai Mitzvah in the time of COVID. But how beautiful, and you can hear, and it's just as joyful as ever. Page 362. So I'm going to invite up Nina and Yaakov, and Polina and Yuri, and of course, Jenya and Carlos to come forward and stand. Yes, I do, absolutely. Oh, I do definitely. Yes, I sure do. Okay. Here. Yeah, so I want to have Eva down there, and then everybody else can go on and go here. Yeah, beautiful.
Like this?
Mm-hmm.
This is the elders here. Yeah, Okay, Yuri? No, you cannot.
One more time. I'll just look for it.
Just leave a little
That
space
one
for
was
what I have to
somebody's.
do.
Just move it a little bit so we can, but let's see if you choose.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, beautiful.
That's enough, right?
That's great. All of the elders of Eva's life ready to pass down the Torah. Okay. En kamacha v'Elohim Adonai, en kema'asecha, malchutecha malchut, kol olamim, u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'ador. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai himloch leolam v'ed, Adonai oz le'amahiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. And then I'd like to invite up Svetlana and Pete to open the ark for us. We're going to have a tight squeeze of all the loving people. Come on up to open the ark. And perfect, you all rose. Beautiful. Go for it. Inside.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonenu, Kadosh Shemo. Quick little turn around. Gadol Adonai, Oner Omema, Shelo Yavna. So I'm going to take the Torah from you, and all of you can please go back to your seats. Lecha Adonai Hagedula v'Hagemura v'Hatiferet v'Hanetzach v'Hahod Kicho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Kicho b'shamayim u'ba'aretz Lecha Adonai Hamelach Ve'Havit Naseh Le'Kol Erosh. Please be seated. You did it. So our Torah reading this morning, I'm not going to say a whole bunch about it because this young woman has an amazing teaching that she is going to offer you in a little while once she's done with her Torah reading. But I do want to talk just about one line. I talked about it last night on Shabbat. That's not where she focuses in her Torah portion and in her Devar Torah. We have, of course, we're at the very beginning of the Torah. You can tell because we have a skinny on this side and big and fat on that side. So we just started the Torah all over again. And we are at Parshat Breshit, Genesis. And of course, it's the creation story. And Eva's going to talk about the garden. But then also in this Torah portion is the story of Cain and Abel, the two warring brothers. And Cain kills his brother Abel. And the famous moment happens when God comes to him and says, I hear your brother crying out to me from the ground. What have you done? Where is your brother? And he, of course, then says, I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper? Am I responsible for him? I think if there's one thing that I have learned, I've learned many things in this time of COVID-19, of us doing all of these unusual things and creating meaning in very difficult circumstances, is that, yes, we all must depend on each other. And we are all of each other's keepers. The only way this happened this morning is because so many people were willing to step up and be with each other and support each other and hold each other accountable. And that's true of all of our families and all of our communities, is all of us being willing to be each other's keepers, both in good and bad, right? When we need to have our behavior checked and when we need to be loved and given extra love from the people around us, especially when times are tough. So my hope and my blessing that I'm taking from the Torah this morning is both what Eva's going to share later, and also the reminder of the importance of community, of chosen family, right? Of actual family and chosen family of people that we choose to have in our lives to hold us up in good times and in bad. So for our Torah reading this morning, we're going to find your spot here. So if you have an aliyah, I will call you up to the Torah, and I'm going to ask you to use this microphone, and the blessings are here, or if you have them in Russian, if you're going to use your Russian copy, that's fine. If you want them in Hebrew or transliterated here. So, for our very first aliyah, dear friend, Irina Takar, whose son became bar mitzvah in January, for our first aliyah. Do you know your people? Okay.
You had to have for your son's bar mitzvah. Yeah, you did.
I would hear. Their touch.
Baruch Adonai Hamelora.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Olam Haed.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bahar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. Amen. Hanahash hayat aru mikol hayat hasadeh asher asa Adonai Elohim vayomer el Chaisha av ki amar Elohim lo tochlu mikol et hagan vatomer Chaisha el Hanahash mipri et hagan nochel ומפרי העץ אשר בתוך הגן אמר אלוהים לא תאכלו ממנו ולא תיגעו בו פן תמותו.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'hayei olam nata b'tocheinu. Baruch atah Adonai, noten haTorah.
Amen. And we say?
Yes.
There you go. Beautiful. And then, on the other side. Yeah. Beautiful. Lovely chanting, Eva. For the second Aliyah, I'd love to call up Eva's grandparents, Nina and Yaakov Levikov, and great aunt uncle Nina Ezerman and Yuri Brooks. Ya'amod Kesya Hasya. Aliyah Shmiyah.
Мама, маску. Конечно, что мы тут? Все с маской. We're having options.
That's okay.
Fast.
Wait, this is not your eyes. There you go.
Now you see the spirit comes through.
Yeah, and so I'm going to ask you.
Yes.
Нет, это что нам там со всеми там. There's nothing in
Okay, come close. Come close to the microphone so you can say it together. Slowly.
Okay. Yes.
Baruch Adonai Havorach,
Baruch Adonai Havorach,
Baruch Adonai Havorach, Yahweh. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. ויאמר הנחש אל האישה לא מות תמותו כי יודע אלוהים כי ביום אחריכם ממנו ונפקחו עיניכם והייתם כאלוהים יודע טוב ורע ותראה האישה כי טוב העץ למאכל כי האהבה הוא לעיניים ונחמד העץ להשכיל ותיקח מפריו ותאכל ותיתן גם לאישה עמה ויאכל.
Nothing after?
After three.
After is you. Okay, switch.
Everybody.
Please,
Yes, everybody.
Come close.
All of you together.
There we go.
I see the sisters at the computer.
Even for the microphone.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan לנו תורה, אמת וחיי עולם, נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Yashakah.
Yashakah.
Okay, so we'll stand on the other side.
I was gonna say one.
What's that? Can she stand here?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Right here. Yeah. Good.
Also, you're going back. Okay, for the third aliyah, I'd love to call Eva's aunt Elena Fernandez. Ya ta'amod. Chava Sarah Bat Nechama la'aliyah shlishit.
Baruch Adonai Haborach.
Baruch Adonai Haborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamrach le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher b'chebanu mikol hayamim v'natan lanu et darato. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vatibakachna and make Shenehem Vayedu Ki Erumimchem Vekeru Ele Te'ena Vayasu Lechem Hagorot Vaishmeru Et Kol Adonai Elohim Vitchalek Bagan Leruach Hayom Vitchavek Adam Vishto Mipnei Adonai Elohim Batov Et Hagan Vayikra Adonai Elohim El Chadam Vayomer Lo
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet b'ha'olam netebe'einu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yeshua. You go to your side.
Yep.
For the fourth aliyah, proud parents. Ya'amru, Jenya and Carlos. Ta'amud, Gittel Bat Nechama, La'aliyah, Rabbi 8.
Baruch Adonai Hambara Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher b'harbanu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch Atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Vayomer Et kocha shamati bagan Vayra Kirum anochi va'ekaveh Vayomer Mikeki lecha Ki erom ata Hamichael Asher Viditicha Viditi acham mimenu achata Vayomer Adam Ha'isha Asher Natata Imadi Netan Ha'el
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata b'tachenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten HaTorah.
Amen. Yeshua.
Okay, so you can go to the other side.
And you can go sit down. No, you stay here.
So for our fifth aliyah, this is actually the moment that Eva crosses over into becoming Bat Mitzvah. Right? She has incredible skill with Torah reading. She's a beautiful writer. There's so many things that she can do and that she has accomplished. But actually the moment that she becomes a young adult in our community, and that the Torah becomes hers to wrestle with, is this moment when she says these blessings that her elders have said before her. So we're going to call her up. Talmud, 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 Talmud. Habachura Bat Mitzvah. Chava Eva Bat Mitzvah.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Leolam Vaed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborah Leolam Vaed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol hayamim, v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Vayomer Adonai Elohim leishach mazor asi, v'tomer haisha hanachash kishiani v'ochel. Vayomer Adonai Elohim al hanachash ki asita zot arorata mikol hapema umikol hayat hasadeh el gechol kratzele v'afarto chol kol yamei hayecha ve'eva ashir beincha uvein haisha uvein zaracha uvein zara yeshuvcha rosh ve'atov teshuvenu akev. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet, v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. Siman tov, mazel tov, mazel tov. Siman tov, Okay, so we're going to roll into our close and give some time for Eva's parents to speak to her, offer their blessings and thoughts and wishes.
Speaking. Well, like I never talk, right? Well, everybody knows that, but I promise not to be too long. This is a very, very, very special moment, and you even know, and she calls this moment my moment, but that's actually, it's my moment, but it's your word. I could never expect to see you so tenacious, with such a perseverance, and so assured of yourself, because you know deeply, and not deeply obvious, that you're doing a wonderful job. When I was thinking about what do I need to say, I didn't even write it down because of course I didn't have time, but I was thinking, you know, first time I realized when she was 4 months old and I was pushing the stroller, and then she looked at me. And it was such a adult look. And I realized I forgot the friend. It was feeling not the daughter, not the child, but I really felt that there was a connection, and I hope it still is, because there is something between the mother and the daughter with all the quarrels and arguments, but there is something deeper on some spiritual level. And there was another word I was thinking about it. Suddenly I never heard it for in years. That word belonged, I think, to my grandfather when we grew up, and he used to speak in Yiddish, and he would say, Nechama. Neshuma, actually. Neshuma. And I was thinking, Neshuma, how can you explain? You go Google and it says soul, but it's not the soul. It's a Jewish soul. And there is a specific meaning of a Jewish soul. It's a tenderness. It's not being indifferent to other people. It's deep wisdom and understanding. And I have to say that you got the Jewish soul. With you, the circle closed. It started with our grandparents. We missed 2 generations. It closed, but it started. And Mazel Tov, and I could not be more proud in my entire life that I'm proud now and I'm proud having you.
13 years and about 4 months to this day, we had the chance with a couple of friends who are here together to be in your New Year when a little girl was born. And I remember I had the chance to be basically the first one to hold you. And the look at your face, you started crying. I don't know if it was so me or... it was a very special moment. And as you grew, I had the chance, I had the luck to spend a lot of time with you. I saw you go to, as a little girl, preschool, then kindergarten. I remember in kindergarten seeing you in a row by the door singing this "See You Later, Alligator." That scene is so much in my mind. These little children and you in the middle singing "See You Later, Alligator" in the whole street. And then came primary school, one teacher after the other, new challenges, new friends, new issues. And then it was gone. And then came middle school. I still remember the first day of middle school. I have some pictures of Carly and you standing there with your backpacks waiting to start middle school. And now middle school is the last years, 1/4 gone. You will be next year high school, 4 more years and then college. I have to say, these 13 years and a few months have been a very, very special experience for me to see you grow, to see you go through school, and to see you dance. Because behind all this, in parallel, is the dancing. It started when you were, what, 3 years old or something? Huh? I was checking the videos, you little girl dancing there, and now all the experience of going through years and years and hundreds of hours of practice, 3 times a week, 5 times a week, and then China, Italy, all the competitions, all the trips. It's been a very ritual experience for me, and I'm really looking forward to what's coming.
Beautiful. So, speaking of dance, no, she's like, am I supposed to dance now? No. Not gonna dance now. No, but I would love to call your dance partner, Alex, to come and lift the Torah for us. So, please rise. He's brave soul because it's so heavy on the left-hand side. And he's going to show us where Eva just read from the Torah. Asher Sam Moshe, Tikvah b'nei Yisrael, Api Adonai, B'yad Moshe. can have a seat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bahar b'nvi'im tovim ve'atah b'divrehem v'ne'emarim b'emet Baruch atah Adonai abocher b'torah u'b'moshe abdo Israel Amo ובנביאי האמת בצדק. כה אמר האל אדוני בורא השמיים נותיהם רוקה הארץ ותעתעך נותן נשמה לעם עליך ברוח וכוחים בה אני אדוני קראתיך בצדק והחזק בידיך וצורך ותמך לברית עם לאור גויים לפקוח עיניים ערות להוציא ממסגר אסיר מבית כלא יושבי חושך אני אדוני ושמו וכבודי לאחר לא אתן ותהילתי לפסילים ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם של כל העולמים צדיק בכל הדורות האל הנאמן האומר ועושה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק על התורה והעבודה והנביאים ועל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ותפארת אל הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אתה ותברך שמך לפי כל חי לעולם תמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת
Amen. Absolutely beautiful. So we're going to return the Torah to the Ark. And to open and close the Ark doors while we do that, I'd love to invite up Irina Schick and Leo Gendel in. And please rise once again.
Asina
please be seated. The Devar Torah this morning will, of course, be given by our Bat Mitzvah, by Eva. If you're having trouble seeing at home, you don't need to see anything right now. All you need to do is close your eyes and listen to the beautiful words that she wrote and the beautiful interpretation of the Torah that she has to offer us this morning.
Making mistakes is the only way people will learn. It has been this way since the beginning. What made it this way? What made humans make mistakes? Was it the creation of darkness and light? Was it the creation of the Garden of Eden? Was it the creation of humans? Or was it the moment God's creations defied him? We all know the story, and we all know the tale that I speak of. The cunning spirit coerced Eve and Adam to eat the apple, to taste its sweet juice. But that was not the only juice that began to flow down their throats. Something else flowed, something new and unusual, the juice of knowledge. They became conscious of their surroundings. They noticed each other's nakedness and became embarrassed. Why is that? Why would a husband and wife be embarrassed of seeing each other naked? It is because they grew up. The second the apple entered their systems, they grew up. They changed. That was when they changed their fate. As children grow up, many parents can't help but feel melancholic. Their innocent young toddlers have grown into young adults with their own needs and temptations. I believe that is how God felt when he felt his children had grown up. He became enraged. Why was that? Wouldn't anyone want to see their own flesh and blood become independent? So why? Why was God so infuriated? I still remember the day that I turned 10. It was very warm and around 8:45 in the evening. I went down for a cup of tea. My dad was talking to his friend in Chile. I waited for the tea to brew, 8:50. I sat down with my tea, 8:52. I finished drinking at 8:57. I stood up to put my cup into the sink and it was 8:58. For the many of you who do not know, I was born at 8:58 in the evening. For a few moments I stood still, and then suddenly I felt tears streaming down my cheeks. My first thought was that I was old. I would never be a single digit again. It took some time for me to realize that growing old was not such a bad thing. Throughout my life, I've experienced many different occasions, some sad, but most joyous. Growing up is a blessing. That is why when children pass away, it is so painful and terrible, because they do not get experience and see the world for what it is. Beautiful. God is an almighty being. He is omniscient. I mean, he did create a wonderful world in only 7 days. So why would he plant a tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden when he so clearly specified that no one should eat the fruit from that tree? That was a test to see if God's children would obey him and would not lie to him. When God came down to earth, he asked, "Where are you?" What a simple question it is, or so it seems. God knew where they were, physically. What God did not know was where they were mentally. Had they grown up and become young adults, or had they stayed as the same innocent toddlers they were before? As soon as God asked Adam and Eve, they lied. They lied to God. Lying, the one thing people resent most, at least I do. Throughout centuries, parents have told their children to never lie. They have told countless tales about what happens to children that lie, the most notable one being Pinocchio. God then asked, who suggested that they should eat the apple? Another test. Would they take the blame, or were they pointing fingers at each other? Well, what did they do? They casually lied again and blamed others for their deed. God was mortified. It says in the Mishnah that an individual is always responsible, whether the act is intentional, or inadvertent, whether awake or asleep. Lack of accountability, the very source of evil. Without taking responsibility, a human's life could be destroyed. Countless times, innocent people have been convicted of crimes that they did not commit. Jail, as hard as it is, but for someone who is not supposed to experience that, it can be 10 times more traumatic. Just like that, a person's life would fall to the ground, like ashes. Without taking responsibility, we would be nowhere. But people would hate people, and no one would know what to do. No one could change things to the way they should be. That right there is why God was so enraged, so hurt by Adam and Eve. He knew that if they did not take responsibility for their actions, they would be setting a terrible example for the future of humanity. God knew that without punishments, Adam and Eve would not learn, so he banished them from the Garden of Eden. He cursed Adam to work for food, while Eve had to endure the pain of childbirth. Hopefully while listening to me talk, you have pieced together as to why I started my Devar Torah with the topic of making mistakes. What led humans to making mistakes? It was not when Adam and Eve ate the apple, it was when they lied about it. God very much wanted Adam and Eve to stumble upon the tree. He had just hoped that they would grow, not become corrupt. After punishing them, it is clear that Adam and Eve lived a life of hardships. They worked and worked and worked, but they had learned their lesson. Ever since then, people have made many mistakes, some trivial, some so important that many have been affected. I used to wish that I was perfect, that I could dance perfectly, get perfect grades, look perfect, read perfectly, and so on. So the day my dance teacher said, being perfect is impossible, you can only try your best. How true, you can only try your best and hope to succeed. Now standing before you, have seen me grow in just 2 hours, from a regular 13-year-old to a full-fledged member of the Jewish community. I now have to take responsibility in understanding the Torah and all of its wonderful teachings. I wonder, where will life take me next? Hopefully whatever challenges are in the distance, the Torah will be right beside me like a mother by a child's side. I think of myself as a blank canvas. In the beginning I was plain and white. Then I began to interact or meet people. Little by little those people began to draw a picture. When I was born, I met my mama, who was like my best friend, and my papa was the wisest man I know. My grandparents, who told me stories about Russia and truly introduced me to the culture. My hilarious and fun aunt, who spent countless hours staying with me while my parents worked. My best friend Gia, who always knows when to cheer me up. My dance teacher Anya, who spent many long hours teaching me how to dance, teaching me something I began to love. My dance partner Sasha, who is by far the funniest person I know. These are just a few of the people who helped color my blank canvas. There are so many more, so many people that I love. I would like to express my utmost gratitude to everyone who's gathered today, and to all who have watched my Bat Mitzvah on Zoom. Without your love and support, I would have never been able to be where I am today. Lastly, I would like to thank Tina and Rabbi Shavon. If Tina had not spent many months working with me, I would have never been here, standing before you. If Rabbi Shavon had not made me question my parashah, I would have never been able to write something as philosophical as this. Believe me when I say I am not as philosophical as this in real life. To be honest, I am a very regular 13-year-old. Shabbat Shalom.
I know. Okay, so Eva, if you'll come stand here, I'm going to stand far away from you so I don't have to have a mask on and just use the microphone for a second. Okay. Eva, you are not a regular 13-year-old, I'm sorry to say. I'm happy to say I have to take issue with that statement because in all of my years, I've been doing this for almost 18 years, I have never had the experience of working with someone and witnessed them bring such beauty and poetry and find such insight in the Torah as you did. You are that philosophical. I wish that I could take credit for anything that you wrote, but I cannot. All we did was talk to each other, and then you would go home and write such beautiful phrases that they're dropping to the ground like ashes, and Torah being by your side like a baby by its mother. I mean, who comes up with this stuff? It's amazing. It's amazing. It was truly an incredible experience learning Torah with you. The experience for me was the way in which you kind of painted me pictures on the text. It's one thing to kind of look at it and find a lesson and relate it to your life, but the way that you wrote about the Torah brought it to life in a different way. The nectar dripping down their throats. I saw Adam and Eve differently because of how you wrote about them. I saw the text differently. That is such a gift and such a skill. I hope that as you learn with the Torah for the rest of your life, as you learn any text that you are reading, as you look at life, that you have that ability to continue to be able to see it with your own beautiful, poetic, expressive vision, because it really brings to life for yourself and for other people something that we've read so many times, and yet studying it with you, I saw it with fresh eyes. So thank you. Truly, you are my teacher. It was an extraordinary experience working with you. Kathy is going to come. She's a board member and a staff member who's here this morning to come and give you a couple of gifts and to congratulate you on behalf of the congregation.
Eva, as we've been preparing for this over the last several weeks in particular, the thing I kept hearing is she is an amazing young woman. And I have to say that's absolutely evident today. What a beautiful day it's been. I am honored and very pleased to be here as the representative of the CBT Board of Trustees. We have these two gifts for you. First is your Kiddush cup. And the second, of course, is your certificate to commemorate this day. And our wish for you is that you continue to seek and find the beauty in this next chapter of your life and in all of the rest of the days of your life. And I know that you will do that. Congratulations. Thank you.
Okay, my dear, you can go sit back down. Take your presents. I get to go here again. Okay, we're going to conclude our service with just a couple more things. I'd love to invite up Katya Makarova to do one more reading called The Lover's Quarrel of the World before we have the Alena.
Let us be counted among those who are alleviating by sharing it. Let us be counted among those who are not satisfied with the status quo, but who yearn and work for a better world. May we bring into this world a bit more truth, a bit more justice, a bit more love than there would have been if we had not loved the world enough to quarrel with it, out of a vision of what it ought to be.
Thank you so much. Please rise for the Aleinu. It's on page 586 if you're following along in the Siddur. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon ha'kol, la'teis gedula li'aseh reshit, shelo atzanu kigoyei atzot, velo samanu kimishkachot ha'adama, shelo samech elokenu b'hem, v'gor Aleinu kechol ha'onan, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlakim hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz hayom hahu hayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo 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 echad. Please be seated. Before we conclude our service with one more song and blessing, we're going to recite the words of the Mourner's Kaddish on behalf of the people we have lost in our community. We are thinking this Shabbat in particular of our beloved community member, Perry Wittenberg, who died just yesterday. It's the period of Shloshim, the first month for Victor Leventhal and Barbara Schechner, and it's the yahrzeit this Shabbat of Stanley Cantor, Rhonda Charney, Betty Garrett, Philip Goldberg, Betty Golshani, Edward Issex, Belle Lerner, Abraham Niver, James Resnick, Ted Rosenberg, Shirley Scheinberg, Muriel Schlossberg, Herbert C. Sweet, Wade H. Turner, Philip Weintraub, Dorothy Welch, and Harry Saul Winchell. Does anyone have other names to add for us to keep in our hearts as we recite the Kaddish this morning? it's your custom to rise, please do so. Or if you are in mourning or observing a yard site, the mourner's Kaddish is on page 598. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach erutei ve'amlich malchutei. V'chayechon u'vyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehi shemei Rabbah mevarach. Ve'alam u'lalmei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach. Yitpa'ar v'yitmomam v'yitnaseh. V'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudsha v'rikut. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata. Tushbechata v'nechemata. Da'aniran be'alma v'imru. Amen. Yehi shalama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Oseh shalom b'imroma. Hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru.
Amen.
Amen. Please be seated. Are we doing announcements this morning? No need for announcements. Okay. So the way that we like to close the service is with the ancient priestly benediction. It's the threefold benediction from the Torah that's done at so many events, at B'nai Mitzvah, at weddings, at baby namings. And normally the way we do it is we have Eva up here with her family, and then everyone comes and touches someone who's touching them. And this time we're not going to do all that touching. You'll be touching Eva. So I'm going to invite Eva to come and stand close, and Jenny and Carlos to come stand close. Why don't you all rise? So at least you feel like you're a little closer. And then when we're finished, we're going to take out our beautiful little magic sparkly bags of kiddush and challah, and we'll make kiddush and say motzi together. And Shabbat Shalom. Yes, please, come.
I want to say a huge and tremendous thank you to Tina, to the Rabbi Shipon, to Lina, and to Anne. Thank you so much for being with me, bearing with me, tolerating me, and helping me to create such a wonderful event, and encouraging me and calming me. It's going to be okay. It's not okay. It's been beautiful. And thank you from the bottom of my heart for all what you guys have done. Thank you. You're real souls of this event. I mean, thank you so much. Rabbi, you're absolutely glorious.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you for your
seat if you would like. We're going to take out our sweet bags here. And Eva, if you wanted to, you can put some piece in your cheek. Yeah, here, we'll share. Isn't that amazing? They're so cute.
I moved it this night when we were talking to Laura. She wasn't in it. I moved it to
Getting things.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's